Hey guys, and I just set up my Nintendo Switch 2, and I wanted to give a tour of the UI here. So basically, it is pretty similar to the Switch 1, but they did change some things here and there. And one notable thing that I do like about the Switch 2's UI is the sound design. I think it sounds a lot better than the Switch 1. And while I'm going through the Switch 2's operating system here, I'm actually doing it in mouse mode, the kind of test out mouse mode. So far, I really like it, and I feel like it feels pretty intuitive. Because I feel like it works best with the strap and everything, and I think that's kind of what Nintendo wants you to do. But we're going to check out the eShop first, because that's one thing that the Switch 1 kind of had a problem with, like loading the eShop here. But I like with the mouse, you can kind of like drag or scroll, but it is so much smoother than the Switch one. They even added like new things like played by friends, which is pretty cool, like the genres, like if you go into role playing, of course, Paper Mario's there, peak fiction. Um it's pretty cool. And then there's also For You. You can get recommendations. So that's pretty cool. So it kind of recommends me different games based on things that I've played. So that's pretty cool. And then of course like wishlist, deals, which this is probably going to contain a lot of AI slop. Down, well, you might have to go down farther a little bit because I do think Nintendo updated some things, but there probably is still some slop up on here. But yeah, it actually splits up Nintendo Switch 2 and the Switch 1 with bestsellers. So I kind of like how it kind of splits things up a little bit. It doesn't make things too confusing. So there's also recent releases as well. Not too many of them since the Switch 2 just released. And then games that are coming soon as well. I assume a lot of these are, yeah, a lot of these are Switch 1, and then the ones with the Switch 2 banner over them obviously are Switch 2. So, and then Switch Online as well. And then the place to enter the code. But yeah, the eShop is so much more usable now than like the Switch 1's eShop. I know that's the bare minimum, but I'm kind of more relieved than anything. And I like the kind of the font that they have now, like with the price and everything. They kind of updated things a little bit. But it's definitely much faster than it is on the Switch 1. But also when you go into... Okay, I'm glad that it didn't immediately go to my profile, because it would have showed my friend code, and I don't want a million friend requests. I already have the max limit, which unfortunately wasn't upgraded on the Switch 2. But I like the slight update that I got here. And there's just like a few things that they kind of changed, but pretty similar there. And then there's also game chat, which you could also use by like pressing the C button as well. But you can look into a chat list or create a chat here. So that's pretty cool. Some of my friends still need to set it up. But I am planning on doing a video with Demeech testing out game chat, possibly tomorrow. But now let's check out the Nintendo Switch Online app. But yeah, it's pretty similar to the updated one that I actually checked out, like, I think a little less than a week ago on the Switch 1. But the only difference here is that it's a lot faster and actually usable here. But yeah, pretty much the same thing, but a lot better. Yeah, and the color thing was actually something that they added on the Switch 1 as well. So let's look at news. I like how you can actually separate it into users. Some people may find that a bit more cumbersome, but I actually like that it's split up into that, because on my Switch 1, I was getting news from like my Japanese and like Europe account, because I have both of those accounts, like to download certain games, and I was getting a bunch of news articles. So it's nice to see that the Switch 2 has like separated menus on here for news. Then you could also like follow like some certain news on there. Pretty similar to Switch 1, but like laid out differently. But let's also check out the album. So these are mostly like Switch 1 images, as you can see, like they're like a little lower resolution. I mean, not that much. Like some of these are like a little better, like for if I capture them in dock mode. But you can look at settings, you could change settings based on users. You could filter out like different accounts. Then also like you can either go on system memory or micro SD express card. And you can filter it pretty easily. It's a lot easier than how you filter it on the Switch 1. And you could also do a few things here as well, like upload to smart device, which will basically send it to the Nintendo Switch 2 app, or I'm sorry, the Nintendo Switch app, which you could download to your smartphone. So I think that's pretty nice there. Then there's also game share as well, and you could like do a game share session with a local user or game chat, which is nice. I'll also be testing this out pretty soon when I test out game chat, because a lot of games are supported with this so far. Even Fast Fusion is like compatible with that. And then with controllers here, I have my Switch 1 Pro controller connected. You could probably tell it's the Tears of the Kingdom one. And it also, I really like the little menu for how they use mouse controls, like at the end here. Like, it has like the little balloons here. That's cute. Kind of like similar to Wii Play. And then you could also do this as well. So I think there's like a lot more personality in the Switch 2's UI than the Switch 1's, I would say. Like, it's still pretty basic and generic, but I would say it's a lot better. Like, the sound design, like, all these little things have new sound effects, where on the Switch 1, it was basically like a simple click. But you could also look through software here as well. Downloaded software. All. You can go by time played as well. You can see Thousand Year Door is definitely up there towards the top. And then the groups that I created as well. Then also virtual game cards. Yeah, pretty similar to how it looked on Switch 1. That was actually something that they recently added to Switch 1. I also wanted to look here. I wanted to find where you increase or change the resolution. Oh, display. That would be in display. But you could change that here. You could even like enable or disable 120 hertz output. Adjust HDR. And that's pretty cool. Yeah, and you can look at resolution. So I actually have it connected to my capture card, which is 1080p. So right now the max is 1080p, but if I connect this to my 4K TV, this would go up to 4K. And I'm actually planning on getting a 4K capture card too, so I can actually capture games in 4K. So I'll have that pretty soon. But yeah, so anyways, that's a basic overview of the UI here. I think even though it's kind of boring and they didn't really do much with it, it's a little better than I was expecting, and I do like the sound design. I do think it's a little more interesting. Like the Beach said on his live stream last night, it has a taste of the Wii U's kind of style here, I would say, even though it's kind of mostly towards the Switch 1's boring UI. It does have like a taste of like some interesting UI elements here. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!